All right. Hello, everyone. And I'm sure you've heard this line a lot, but thank you for joining us at the 9th annual Startup Boston Week. Heard that a lot today, I know. But we truly are grateful that you chose to spend your time with us today and come to our event. You know our mission. We want to bring together the startup community across industry, departments, funding stages, and we want to be able to connect, educate, and celebrate the ecosystem while serving as a guide for you throughout it to help start, scale your startup or your team. My name is Grace. I will be your host today. Before we dive in, quick shout out to Suffolk University. Thank you so much for letting us use this space for the past 3 years, and thank you for your commitment to Boston's startup community. If anyone here is interested in exploring entrepreneurship, Suffolk offers a variety of programs and opportunities. They have a vendor hall on the 5th floor that you can stop by to find out how might get involved and how they can support your journey. Thank you again so much for attending Startup Boston Week. Now on to the second to the last presentation of the day with Gabrielle Dalvet. Thank you.
All right. Who's tired? Raise your hand. Really? The rest of you have energy? Okay, somebody else get up here. Really excited to be here. Really appreciate everyone coming out because, again, it's Friday and it's 4 o'clock. So this is impressive. And I really hope I can deliver. First things first, I heard somebody in the audience say, like, great title. And I know my business partner, Matt, may have originally came up with the title. And I was like, you know what? It just doesn't sound like me because, this is about personal brand and it's my brand. So I'm renaming it. It's the same sort of subject matter. Don't worry. We're not going to get into life sciences here. But I wanted to rename it to How to Get a Personality and Post Shit on LinkedIn That Actually Means Something. And yeah, AI can help, but it won't save you from doing the real work. Because as I was preparing for this conversation today, I love AI. I use it day in, day out. I've built a lot of different things with it on different platforms, from Claude to ChatGPT to the vertical specific ones to workflow automation. Like, I get it. It is important. I love it to death. But before we do all the AI automation stuff, you got to do some deep personal work. So this Friday at 4 p.m. in front of a bunch of random strangers, we're going to get into it. Sorry, Matt. So first we're going to go over who the hell am I and what authority do I have to talk about LinkedIn, which is super embarrassing that I do, but I do. Why LinkedIn feels fake, right? Like, raise your hands if you think LinkedIn's a bunch of malarkey. Yeah. Okay. More hands, please. More hands, all the hands. Come on. I don't even care if you have 100,000 followers. You're like, I know, it's awful. And my neighbor works at LinkedIn. I'm like, what's going on with LinkedIn? So we'll get into that. How to find your actual voice, because everyone's like, oh, what do I have to offer or say about LinkedIn, right? Well, you do, I promise. I think we'll get into it and see what progress we make. How to make that into some sort of legible post that doesn't sound like an AI bot wrote it, right? Where AI can help without taking over the entire thing and making it sound like a robot wrote it. And then how to scale from there. What do you do with all of this? I'm going to warn everybody. There's no silver bullet in here. There's no magic trick. There's no shortcut. There's not really that hacky. Unfortunately, I can give you some hacks. There are a lot of people that sell hacks. There are a lot of hacks that sell hacks, but this is not going to be one of those presentations because at the end of the day, even if you take the hacky route, you're going to end up doing the real work eventually because it's not going to work for you, the hacky route. So just beware that this, you're going to leave here being like, okay, shit. Yeah, okay, fine. It's hard. Anyway, a little bit about me. I am Gabrielle Dalvet, as Grace said. Shout out to Grace. She nailed my last name on the first try. The T is silent. I am from Portland, Maine originally. I finished up college at Boston University down the street. And I started off my career working for some of the world's biggest athletic brands. New Balance, small secret company from Boston. I don't know if you've heard of them. And 47, sometimes known as 47 brand, but they've gone through a couple of crises, identity crises themselves, and would prefer just 47 for your knowledge. As a marketer, I feel very triggered even saying 47 brand. They make headwear and apparel. So if you have a Red Sox hat, hopefully it's 47. If you don't, go home, throw it out, and buy a 47 one. I was loving the sneaker and sports world, got a little burnt out. It's pretty sexist. One time I was on a call with the Washington Nationals and they were like, "Where's your male boss?" And I was like, "He's not available because I'm doing all the work." And they were like, "We don't want to talk to you." And I was like, "What year is it?" And we've gone downhill since then. So I was like, let's try tech. That sounds like a great idea. I wanted to leave the sneaker industry, right? I wanted to leave the sports industry because I felt like I was going to become a dinosaur. And now I'm a dinosaur in tech. I've built out startup marketing teams from scratch at Robin, Vendor, and Den. So B2B SaaS as well as like B2C home building and all sorts of shit. I got to work on my elevator pitch because at this point, my age, I'm like, there's just a lot, right? But that's a little bit of my like work experience. And now what I'm doing, again, not a succinct way to say this, but I'm one of those fractional gals, fractional CMO, marketing consultant, and I co-founded my own community for women in marketing, women and non-binary marketers, about 4 years ago. So I'm both a marketer and a co-founder, and we're bootstrapped, and it's really fucking hard. So if anybody is a founder in the group, I can completely relate. If you don't know how to do marketing, I can't relate. If you know me or have seen my obnoxious profile photo on LinkedIn along your feed, I post a lot of rants on marketing, leadership, and motherhood. The best ones are the ones that are completely unhinged. And we'll talk about why that's important for you all. So get comfy. I'm not by any means like some big LinkedIn influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers yet. But you know, this isn't nothing. I've got 8,000 followers. I can't believe I'm up here saying that. It's just like so embarrassing. Like who wants to be a LinkedIn influencer? Apparently all of us. But I have 8,000 LinkedIn followers and, you know, I've gotten hundreds of thousands of impressions. And I've also helped as a fractional CMO and in-house marketer. I've helped executive teams, founders, founder-led brands also build their personal brands. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. That was more their fault than mine. So yeah, this is one of my recent posts. Hot take of the day. Usually if people don't like me, it's because they're bad at their job and I know it. That's my personality. Well, you're probably sitting there like, well, who cares? Like, what does this actually get you or your clients? I have not done a single minute of business development, which I'm a consultant, so maybe I don't need to fill too big of a book of business. But I've gotten all of my new business just from inbound and referrals. So I think that speaks for something. I've also helped, again, a lot of founders and CEOs try to find their voice, again, to varying degrees of success. One of those big degrees of success was inbound interest. So a reporter from Bloomberg, if you've heard of it, actually reached out to a CEO whose personal brand I was personally running with his help and input, of course. She DM'd him, no prior relationship, no PR agency, no, this was not a big company. This was a very small supply chain company. And this reporter reached out to him because of his post that I wrote with his words and my urging to write the thing. And she wanted to talk to him. Does anybody know how much of a PR firm costs? Does anybody price this out? Can someone tell me? Raise a hand, whatever you say. What? 10 G's at least, right? 10 G's, 20 G's. I've seen on like for Series A round companies, like we've spent upwards of 30K a month on PR. And on top of that, it takes like 3, 6, even 12 months to get to the point where you have, maybe never, honestly, depending on how shitty your company is, to get inbound interest from a journalist. This is huge. Do you know how much this is worth? So, okay, you get it, right? Like I'm a big deal. Something tells me from your laughter, you don't think so. So what's up with LinkedIn anyway? Like, why does it suck so bad? Well, from my neighbor who works in UX research there, shout out Ariel. She's like, they're not incentivized to actually build to fix existing products. So that's why you keep getting like, Sudoku requests or whatever, which is really annoying, right? But whatever. We'll take it up with Bill Gates. Um, but why does LinkedIn feel so fake? Does anybody else agree with this comment? What are your thoughts? Like what is one word that describes LinkedIn to you? I want to hear it. Yeah, see you in the back. What? Sanitary. Ooh, I like that one. Anybody else? Grace. AI slop. Yeah, yeah, wicked bad. Smarmy. Yeah, yeah. Anybody cringe? Where's my Gen Z? Where's my former intern? It's icky, right? Gives me, oh God, I sound like such an old lady. Um, Gives you the ick. This guy just went viral. Sorry if James is in the audience. I don't think he's based in Boston, so I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm safe, but um, he could be watching virtually at home. Um, he got in some hot water because did anyone see the photo of some CEO who grabbed a hat from a little boy at the US Open? Yeah, not cool, man. Like, come on, go buy your own hat. Like I don't watch TV because I have two kids and who has time, but um I'd love to watch the US Open, but I don't. But I forget which player gave a little boy his like the player's own hat, and the CEO reached out and grabbed it because he wanted it because he's a little boy too. Um and then this guy goes on LinkedIn. Like I think I actually found this on LinkedIn Lunatics on Reddit. Anybody? Great. I'm like that should be our goal leaving here is show up on LinkedIn Lunatics. Like honestly though, right? You want to like cause a commotion, just not this way. Um and yeah, this guy is like defending the CEO saying that like he deserved it or something. Like he worked his butt off to be there whereas like the boys' tickets were bought by his parents. Like okay. Like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, the world's falling apart, and this guy's out here saying this crap. So yeah, like LinkedIn's full of people like this. It's really obnoxious. Why is that though? Like, well, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out with my therapist. I think that there's like some version of I don't know, like people feel like we're all internally, mentally, like still in our like 14-year-old brains, I feel like, right? Is everybody with me here? Um, and we're all like, oh yeah, like we show up to work and we're big boss people now, right? Like I'm 38 years old and I'm like, who's putting me in charge of anything, right? But like then I look around and I'm like, oh, never mind. Like, oh yeah, I'll take over. No, but we like show up to work from day one whenever we started working, especially in a corporate atmosphere, and we're like, oh, I gotta pretend to be a big tough boss person, right? And I feel like that's just a facade because we feel inadequate or imposter syndrome, right? And so we put on this mask. And you see it with folks of all types, and some of it is like a protective measure, right? Like especially like women or folks from marginalized backgrounds feel like they have to do that in order to, fit in with like the majority of, straight white men. Um, but reality is like that doesn't feel authentic to anybody, right? Like, so that's why LinkedIn sucks so bad is because everybody's on there like, oh, I gotta, tighten up my tie and put on my big boss mask and pretend like I'm know what I'm talking about. But the nobody likes that, right? Nobody feels like that is actually connecting with you. And the whole point of branding and marketing is to connect with people. And so, yeah, I post random ass crap that's like somewhat work related on LinkedIn, but it connects with people and they resonate. And that is like, that's marketing like over and over and brand over and over and over again. So like stop, like we gotta just take the mask off. Shout out if anybody knows what movie this is from. Yeah. If you can't tell, Jim Carrey shaped my life. Probably like 30% of it at least. So we gotta be yourself, right? Um, Love this movie too. You can really again see where like my personality is coming from. Robin Williams, Jim Carrey. This just isn't, it's not real. Why else do you think LinkedIn feels fake? Any Sorry, this like GIF is like making me dizzy. Um, Any other ideas? Why does LinkedIn feel so fake? Too formal. Yep. Of it. Somebody else had a hand up. You in the back? Yeah. Humble bragging. You're like, cool. You like the smell of your own farts. Okay. Yep. People are insecure. Yeah. Everybody needs to go to therapy like tomorrow. Yep. Anybody else? Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Late stage capitalism. Woohoo. What were you going to say? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Right. I ate a hot dog and that's what it taught me. It's like, what, where, why did this hook become popular? Please stop. Yeah, exactly. So how do you be yourself on LinkedIn where it feels like everybody else is wearing a mask and you got to wear a mask to fit in and you want to feel professional and you don't want to be taken seriously, but you're no matter at what stage of your career, you're like, why am I a professional? I should just be, out like coloring with crayons, right? Like I think intrinsically we all feel that way. And if you don't, you're just delusional. And then at the end of the day, the other thing is like, I'm clearly an extrovert, and a lot of people aren't, and that's okay. And sometimes those people and other extroverts don't want to put themselves out there, right? Raise your hand if you don't want to put yourself out there on LinkedIn. Come on, more hands, more hands. Oh, come on. You guys want to come up here and do this then? Yeah, let's see. You got more than 8,000 followers? If you do, that's cool. That's awesome. But like, okay, fine. You don't want to. I know you don't want to. Like, I don't want to. If you don't want to put yourself out there, ask yourself these questions. Do you have friends? Raise your hand. More hands. More hands. Does your family still talk to you? Some of them. Yes. Okay. Have you ever made anyone laugh? Oh. That was some great personal branding or whatever. Yeah, put that on LinkedIn. Um, are you kind? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. You're not kind. That's so mean. Um, you're going to be fine. Right? Like you have relationships in your life that people like and adore you. And if you don't feel like that, then again, therapy is helpful. But you're going to be fine. You're going to be better than the other LinkedIn lunatics out there. As long as you know who you are and you are honest with the audience that is out there, right? Like it's so critical, especially if you're in B2B, but also if you're going to raise money or you just want to generate, like, honestly, I've run B2C ads on LinkedIn with a lot of success for like a high price point product, but still. So if you are wondering if it's worth it and wondering if you are going to be well received, yeah, you are. Like you're fine. You're here today and the person next to you isn't like sneering at you, I don't think. So I'm pretty sure that like you're going to be fine. But again, you have to do that deep work to understand why you are the way that you are and how that translates to the workplace and work culture. There's a lot of overlap here, right? We're not separating ourselves from home and work anymore because that's a mask. And you need to be comfortable with sharing some of that. Don't follow anybody else's playbook. Do not copy anybody else's post. Be yourself, right? That was an Aladdin reference. So the first, let me do time check 420. That could really liven things up here. Step one, and like, I want to see some people take out their phones and not like because you want to ignore me, but maybe you do, but because you want to take out your note app or whatever the equivalent is on a Droid, and write some stuff down. Anybody got a notebook? Anybody want to go through this process with me? This is supposed to be like a live workshop, so like, let's do it. Who's going to volunteer? Come on, I want to see some people. But again, don't get distracted by any of your other like, apps dinging and donging. Let's figure out like what makes you you, right? So this is very hard for a lot of people. If you're a Leo born in August, it's not hard because we love ourselves and we've already gone through this motion of defining who we are and our values, and we're all about it. So if you're a Leo, you're in luck. If you're not on LinkedIn, like I don't, therapy. But like if you haven't really done this work, like really done this work, right? Like processed, and I'm dragging this out because I don't think a lot of people have, right? So if you're like, I know who I am, really? Okay, there's a lot of people in this room. Let's figure out your roots, right? So yes, there's probably a million questions you could ask yourself, a million things you could think about, but that's very overwhelming and, drives you down the path of complete and utter panic and anxiety. So we're not going to do that. But let's just think about, like, I like the rule of three, right? Let's think about your roots. What shaped you growing up? What shaped you growing up? Maybe maybe you have a single mom who worked 2, 3 jobs day and night. You like never saw her, but she provided for you so that you could come to America and make a life for yourself in this lovely country. Wow. No, I'm sorry. Like I also realized that, where some people come from, it's actually better. My neighbor's Irish and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's worse there." I'm like, "Really? Potatoes?" Um, so what shaped you growing up? And this is important. Again, this is the deep work that makes you you because we're humans. We're very complex and deep creatures, right? I'm assuming everybody here is at least like what, 20-ish years old, if not 30, 40, 50, 60, right? Like that's a lot of life that we've lived. So what makes you you? What has shaped you growing up? What are the things? And again, if you're like, well, what's work related? I don't know. Like, well, I mean, if your dad ran his own company, oh, duh, like entrepreneurship is in my blood. And you don't have to say it like that if that sounds super cringy too, but like you should acknowledge that, put that on paper and help that like define what your personal brand is. What did you love or hate about your earliest jobs? One of my first jobs was at an ice cream shop called Super Scoops, and I worked for this creepy pedophile named Stu. I made $6.25 an hour, and he told my coworker that he wishes to be reincarnated as a girl's bicycle seat. So if that tells you anything about what it's like to be a woman, it's really great. So yeah, Stu's gross. Definitely don't want to work for Stu again. I think he died, so good. But what did you love or hate? Did you like, I personally think back to the jobs that I had, again, completely unrelated to the things that you do today in like on paper, right? But I loved working in hospitality. I've bartended, I've served, I've waited tables in crappy restaurants, I've waited tables and bartended in fine dining restaurants. And guess what? Hospitality is a big piece of any experience that you're building as a founder, as a marketer, as somebody building out a customer success team. Like it's critical. If you don't understand hospitality, how do you make people feel comfortable using your product, right? Like, sure, maybe you're not serving them food, maybe you are, but I think it's really important to think about that because it makes you, you, right? What subject or hobby did you geek out on, right? Like, what are some of the things that you can trace to your current day career aspirations? I studied art history and literature, French literature. I didn't study marketing. Well, you know what? Understanding how the written word translates into different messages depending on the audience and looking at visuals and paintings and sculptures and understanding their meaning sounds a lot like marketing. And I don't think that's too far-fetched, right? So you can see how these threads of what makes me me, which is cuckoo bananas, really feeds into like my personal brand, right? Does anybody else want to share what shaped you growing up? What do you feel? Is there something popping into your heads that's like, oh yeah, my mom used to tell me this all the time, or I had this one job that I was like, you know what? I never want people to have to deal with this thing ever again. Any volunteers? Volunteers? Come on. Nothing? Who wants to get super vulnerable? You.
I'll go there. I've said this before, but it's all the toys.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in the '80s, which is the greatest time for toys. Don't argue with
Oh,
me.
sorry.
GI Joe, Transformers, Thundercats.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I need to get the mic going. Oh, right.
Did
Now you're-
anyone not hear me? I said
Now
I grew
you're
up.
being recorded.
Oh, okay. I said I grew up playing with toys in the 80s, and that was the greatest decade for toys because I had Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats. Those are just, I still talk about them today. And what was great was that they all come back, and then my nephews think I'm the coolest guy on earth because
Yep.
we go to the G.I. Joe movie, the Transformers movie, and they're like, Uncle Matt knows everything about these.
Yeah. And what's your business or like your job? Your
So I'm
career?
creating fantasy experiences. I guess that does relate to it. How about that? What I'm creating is technology for immersive entertainment. So there you go.
See, and you didn't even realize that, did you?
Oh, I did. Yes.
Oh,
No.
you did. Before today?
Yeah.
Oh.
Come see me. I'm showcasing tonight. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll talk a little bit more about the business.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, my son loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He'd love my business.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, this came out the year I was born, and is also from Maine, where I'm from, right? I think. Yeah, no, is it TMNT
Eastman and
or
Laird.
something?
They're from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. I couldn't remember. Yeah, I have baby brain, so I don't know what I'm saying up here. Anybody else want to share? Who wants to get vulnerable? Come on, somebody's got a single mom who worked 2 jobs, but maybe you don't want to share that in front of a bunch of strangers. You. Sorry, I thought this was like supposed to be interactive, so I'm like, Startup Boston Week people are like, oh, still no.
Hello.
Oh,
Yay.
third time's a charm.
So also 80s child, but I was obsessed with ancient Egypt, as I think everyone
Yes.
growing up, regardless of what decade you're from, you become obsessed with ancient Egypt. Even
Yep.
ancient Egypt, what we consider to be ancient Egyptians were obsessed with their ancient Egypt, which is just crazy to think about. I loved looking at hieroglyphics and trying to figure out what they meant. I really struggled to read for a really long time. And I mean, looking at hieroglyphics was about the same as looking at English words. I'm a behavioral scientist. And so now I look at patterns of behavior and what we do. I research how we make creative ideas and how we make the decisions we have to get there. So seeing the pattern recognition of hieroglyphics when I was a kid, and then also working in hospitality forever, which is basically professional people watching, now it's what I do. And
at that.
I
I got
did also know
goosebumps.
that before. Sorry.
Does anybody else have goosebumps? I mean, look at these stories. You talk about marketers, you hire marketers, you pay a lot for people like me and Matt, and we're like, "What's your story? What's your story? Do you have any sort of story?" And people are like, "Oh, I don't know." And then look at 2 stories. I don't even know your first names. So I'm going to talk to you afterwards because that's a cool story. Both of those. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? No, we can take questions at the end, but I just want to feel the vibe and make sure this is like connecting for people. Because if I were in your shoes running your LinkedIn's, I would totally be talking about that all the time. And maybe you're like, I am, and I have 100,000 followers. So why am I even here? I don't know. So, cool. I think the next bucket I would look at is like frustrations, right? Like, what's the expression that people love to like? One of the easiest ways to bond with somebody is to like complain about something, right? I like to say that Larry David runs my internal monologue, sometimes external as I get older. But I would go through the process, like, sure, maybe what frustrates you, but write it down. I would take a big old blank sheet of paper. This is my preferred method. And a pencil. I know, call me old school. And I would write it all down. And it doesn't have to be in order. Just doodle, right? Like grab your kid's coloring book and be like, oh God, I can't stand it when people do XYZ. What pisses you off about your industry? If you're a founder or co-founder, I'm sure there's something very evident, right, that you're trying to build a whole business around. What is that? Like, why does it piss you off? Like, just unleash, right? Like, write it down because I think that helps define who you are. Not only helps, it is who you are. It's why you're building this entire business. And that is what should go on LinkedIn, not, oh, I talked to a customer today and they were like, oh, nobody gives a shit about that. They want to hear like the passion in your voice, right? Like, I think that's why people give a shit about what I have to say, is because I get so mad, but it's so relatable. Then, think about like, what cliche do you roll your eyes at? Again, these are just like different prompts that you can play around with. If one of them or all of them don't speak to you, you can just go find some others or think about in other ways, right? What's one thing I believe that most people in my field don't? Right? I was thinking about this earlier today, and then you just got to like try to wire your brain to like notice when you're doing this type of thinking and write it down or voice note it. I've been getting really into like voice notes lately. What's one thing I believe that most people in my field don't? If you're a marketer, you might relate to this. In marketing, they always say, most people say, start with the copy and then go to the design. And I know Mac's here, so I'm sorry, Mac. What if we started with the design? Would that be so crazy? Sometimes as a copywriter, I kind of need to know like what could an end format look like so I don't overhit it, right? And yeah, of course, it's helpful to do both together, but they're certainly not like separated linear things. And if you're not a marketer, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? But that is something that I will post about probably on LinkedIn whenever I remember this conversation in my head in 3 months. But I think that that is something that you, if you have those same sorts of thoughts about your industry, should be talking about. And it's okay if somebody comments and goes, well, it's like, that's the whole point, right? Like, don't get too flustered like I do. It's probably why I'm sweating, is because I posted a video on TikTok earlier and my comments are blowing up now. And I'm like, oh my God, criticism. Like, that's okay. We want to create that tension. We want to have that dialogue, right? And then lastly, for the like just this quick little exercise, I feel like everyone's kind of coming down on the energy, so we got to get it back up there. But like think about your strengths. Like what do people always come to you for, right? So what are the things anybody want to share? What's your superpower? You in the back. Okay, I have a lot of questions about that. But that's cool. What's easy for you that's hard for others? Anybody? Come on. Who's
Not unique in this room.
I like it though. What angle? All of them?
Just being able to do it because a lot of people can't do stuff.
Okay. Okay. Don't know where to start with the startups. That's a whole vibe for a LinkedIn post if it's not already, Anybody else? What's your superpower? Math? Who said that? You? Math? Tell me more. Just doing numbers? Not words. So yeah, give her a second.
My mom put me in this. Okay, now I'm recording. Yeah, I got it. So when I was young, my mom would like make me do all these math tests for like when you do like I don't know a competition. I'm from Brazil, so we used to
This is
do
so
this,
cool.
and I would won them, and I hadn't studied. So that's it.
I have goosebumps again. That's
I
your
don't know.
story. Do you share your story? Not to pick on, I gotta pick
No,
on
I
every-
do not.
Yes, you should share that. That is so fucking cool. Is that not so cool? Has anybody else won math competitions? Yeah, okay. What are you guys, computer science folks? Come on. Yeah. Okay. Anybody not in like engineering that? Okay. That's awesome, right? Like there's a story right there that you should talk about, even if it's not directly related to the work that you're doing. Step 2, build your personal brand project in ChatGPT. So I'll talk about this in a second, like the whole like, what platform do you use? There's like Pressmaster, which is for LinkedIn, and there's I forget the name of the other one. I've also tried it. There's again, there's vertical specific ones for LinkedIn. And that's great. I've tried them. I wasn't that impressed. I personally like the flexibility and the like depth that building out a project specifically gives you in ChatGPT, but also Claude. I've dated both of them. Right now I'm pretty down with ChatGPT. I have a project in my ChatGPT account that it's like Gabrielle's personal brand. And I really hope it never gets out into the public, but drop in any raw material. So do you have any sort of like, I don't know, a letter you wrote your mom like 15 years ago, right? Like anything that represents your voice. Like if you don't post on LinkedIn today, or if you don't do this a lot, right? Just like try to think of different places where you might have like representative material of what makes you, right? Put it all into your ChatGPT project if you haven't already. If you don't have anything that you can think of, or if it's old, like, again, use those prompts, answer the prompts, put the prompts into and put the answers into your project, right? So that ChatGPT starts to have a blueprint of your brain, and then you're owned by the robots and the game's over. And add new content as you go. What's great about a project is that it remembers that, right? It has that memory and pulls on that over time. So it will go back and pull something that you first entered, and it'll reference new material as you add that in, whether it's uploaded as a file or just a chat you have with chat. It's very meta. That should be your, like, that is my LinkedIn safe safe space. It's so dorky. Again, I did some research on this. You know, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, and I would do whatever works for you, right? Like if you like a custom GPT, or if you want to build something in Claude, or if you want to use Pressmaster, I forget the name of the company. It's like a LinkedIn specific AI tool. That's cool. Like do what works for you, because that means you're going to like commit to it versus like forcing you to do like my way. But from my understanding and my research, custom GPT can be helpful, but it is more like one-to-one transactional, right? Like, yeah, and you can, you know, if you're writing like, if you just want it for LinkedIn posts, like that could work. It's not going to work. But I like the idea of a project because it's got like roots, and it's more for like the brand aspect where you're going to evolve over time, and it'll reference things over time, and you can go back and reference that specific chat that you did 2 weeks ago, right? Where there's no memory of the strategy, of the bigger strategy in a custom GPT. So that's my hot take on custom GPTs and projects. Again, do what works for you. But I think that's important because if you have a project and you've got all that rich history and you're using it to post on LinkedIn, and then all of a sudden you're requested to speak at Startup Boston Week, guess what? I dumped a bunch of info into my into my chat GPT project, right? And into my personal brand project. And it helped me think through how to structure this conversation today, because it has that rich history, and it's not just for LinkedIn posts. It's my own personal brand, like on a much richer scale. If that makes sense, but I'll answer questions on that. Time check, 4:38, 4:39. Okay. Step 3. Okay, now that you've done all that, you know, hopefully in a couple hours and not like 20 minutes, pick a topic and expand, okay? This is how you post relevant content that will actually get eyeballs on it on LinkedIn. Like maybe you're already posting on LinkedIn, but I bet it's sure as shit not interesting. So if anybody knows where this screenshot's from, you probably have kids, or you just like Disney movies, and that's kind of weird, but that's cool. This is from Inside Out. This is the anger emotion. And this is me also right before I post something on LinkedIn. I literally have like almost trained myself, right? So it's like a habit building thing, right? Where I did it earlier today when I created a TikTok, which I've never really done before. So, but I'm also going to post on LinkedIn about it. When I get really mad about something and it's semi-work related, I just jot it down, or I record a video, right? So pick a topic and like learn to train yourself when that trigger is happening. And then choose your fighter, right? Like, again, find what works for you. I always hear, oh, I'm not a writer. Well, first of all, you can learn to write. Second of all, but I know that not everybody has time, but I will say firsthand as somebody that was actually better at math, maybe not Brazil like champion math, but I was better at math than writing growing up. And then I taught myself really how to write more so in my like 20s. Choose your fighter, whatever you're comfortable with, whether it's writing, handwriting, if you know how to do that still, typing, record a voice note. Voice notes are awesome. I don't know, like this stage of my life, I've got 2 small kids at home, like writing feels really hard. I walk around talking to myself. And then sometimes I also record it. Anybody get that? Yeah. Pace around the room, right? Go for a walk, take a shower. It's actually, I think, been scientifically proven for the purposes of this conversation that showering actually, I think it's like the white noise or something. I don't know if anybody else knows exactly why, but there is such a thing as shower thoughts for a reason. So like take a shower and like write down everything you thought about in the shower afterwards, right? be interviewed. I worked with a CEO. We would meet once a month. We would record the conversation in Riverside. I would come up with all sorts of different questions. Some of them, he was like, I don't want to answer that. And I was like, okay. Some of them, he was like, oh, cool. That's weird. And I was like, I mean, I'm just trying to like, again, pull out those stories that you're not going to necessarily get if you're like, so like, what do you think about subject lines? You know, like be interviewed or like think about those questions that are really drawing out your personality and your story. Record a selfie video, especially if you're like, I can imagine Gen Z being comfortable with this. I'm just kidding. I don't think anybody is comfortable with that. Find what works for you and do that, right? Like, and just record and jot it down and take notes. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just get the thought out there, because that like intrinsically is going to have all the passion woven up into it that is so relatable to everybody else on the LinkedIn hellscape. I mean, social media platform. So for me to walk through an example, I'll put myself on the spot, right? Like real quick, I think we'll get to the Q&A because that'll be the, I think, most fun. This is what makes me, me kind of. I didn't include Robin Williams and Jim Carrey, and that's really important. But my roots, I played soccer my whole life, right? So I've got this like grit, teamwork, competitiveness. Anybody else a sports person, more of an athlete? Anybody else like captain of their team, right? You've got natural leadership qualities. If you did a solo sport, you don't. I was really bad at running and swimming, so I just put those people down. But like teamwork is a really important part. I think it's why I am supposedly a good leader, and I've got people that I've even managed here that told me that. So I think it's really important, right? Again, maybe you don't think like, oh, I played soccer and I was captain of my team, but that is something that is super relevant to your story and why you are the leader that you are, right? Art and French, I talked about that already. Like I used to be really good at math. Like I'm talking like, you know, almost a perfect score on my math SAT. I was not very good at the writing and reading part, even though my dad's an English teacher. I know it doesn't make sense. But I like got so into art and French. That was my passion. And I think that really matters for marketing today. And so what are those parallels if you were into math and then you become a CTO? Like I'm assuming there's a lot of parallels in there, like all the, you know, numbers and binary and code. I don't know. Clearly not my expertise. My frustrations, well, we don't have enough time. One, corporate America treats moms like shit, period. It treats a lot of people like shit, but I'm a mom and I'm like, wow, why do we do this for anybody? My other frustration, founders who don't get marketing and then act like they know it. And I'm like, why am I here? If you're going to disagree with me, even though I'm the expert and you're not. And then, you know, if marketing is 70% women, why are CMOs always men? Like that makes no sense to me. Not that they aren't qualified enough, but why aren't there more women in the CMO position, statistically speaking? It's curious. My strengths, turning old brands into cultural ones, building scrappy startup teams from zero and saying what everybody else is too polite to say, obviously. Then I load that all up into my little ChatGPT project, right? So I'm not going to show you behind the curtain here because I don't think I would be invited back. But again, like I'm just going to load in all of the things. It doesn't matter. You could take, again, some like random note you wrote to your partner that is very heartfelt and endearing and made them cry. That's a beautiful example to upload and give over to the robots to tell the robots how you think and how you express yourself and how you feel about your partner, right? Again, it makes you you. Maybe you're not going to write a LinkedIn post about it unless there's like, you know, CTA at the bottom to like download your ebook. But, you know, I think it's important, again, to express your whole self. Then pick, again, I'm going to pick a raw rant. This is me, like literally when I was building this presentation, I was like, what am I mad about today? I should probably like, you know, again, go to therapy more. I can't stand it when founders don't know how to do marketing and admit that, but then they hire marketing and roadblock them 82 different ways, maybe even more, from doing anything marketing related. My guy Matt and I were like, yeah. And anybody other marketers in here? Yeah. Is everybody like, right? Like how many times have we been hired to do a job or assigned a project and then the founder's like, oh no, I have to like ruin it with my own feedback, and then you don't even get to do it, and you're like, well, this is like antithetical to the whole point of me even being here, right? So this really pisses me off. And happens even today. I don't know, one of you could hire me and it would happen and I'd be like, what? Why? This is just wasting money and time. So then take that fuel, right? Like put some fuerza into your LinkedIn posts, right? So I would just like draft up a prompt. And this, I'm not by any means saying this is like the prompt to end all prompts for LinkedIn, but this is a prompt you could use and then see if it sounds like you, right? Like see how it feels. And if you're like, well, I don't really know what to say, does anybody do this? Ask AI what to say. Does anybody do this? Raise your hand if you do this. Yeah, you're all lying. You don't do this. Come on. No, it's like such I heard somebody say this like a couple months ago. And I was like, that's so stupid smart, right? Like it's so good. I'm just like, well, what would you say? What would you use to prompt AI? And the AI is like, blah, 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 really long, annoying prompt that I would never take the time to write out. And then it's like, do you want me to run this for you? And I'm like, yeah, I do. It's awesome, right? And again, if you do that in your own project, it's going to pull what's best for you and your brand, your humanity. So here's some examples from the prompt that I had shared earlier, which is again, not the prompt to end all prompts, but it's like an option. And I would look at some things and I would like use this process to kind of train your AI on how you talk and how you feel and how whatever, right? Like what makes you, you. I think a lot of this sounds like me. Frankly, I've been taking a slightly different approach where I am a good writer, good enough writer, and I usually just write the thing myself and then have like AI clean it up slightly. And like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, this is like an interesting way to think about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Most of the time I just go with my own words and let's like just clean it up grammatically. But that's okay if you're not as good as me, and not a lot of people are. You know, that's okay to use AI to like help you learn again that voice, right? And if you're not sure if this sounds like you know, ask a friend, ask your partner, ask your colleague, right? Again, you don't have to do this every single time, but just to get going, if you're not somebody that posts a lot, or if you post a lot with like these really cheesy, you know, templates, like, yeah, definitely do this instead. It's going to sound a lot better. But don't forget, okay, 447. Okay. Don't get it twisted. AI is your editor and your intern. You're the boss, right? Like I would, God forbid, if you are going out there and being like, copy and paste, do not do that. That is like not a good idea. That is what is going to feel super cringy. Make it sound like you. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. And it's really scary again to put you out there like publicly, but I promise you, I'm still here-ish. And still somebody's paying me to do something, so it's working, right? Don't be too precious, right? Like it's not that deep, guys. Like, yeah, it's on the internet forever, but nobody's gonna see it, especially like the first couple ones. I had one post the other day that like nobody really said anything about or liked, and I was like, what the and I almost deleted it, and I was like, that's so stupid. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. You're like your own worst critic, right? Just like get it out there. Like, as long as you're not offending people, it's fine. This is like more of a pet peeve, but also very algorithmically like relevant. Stop with the hashtags. No links, not even in the comments. Do not go out there and say link to the blog post. Nobody's going to go read your blog post. Just put the content on LinkedIn. Don't do the AI thing where you're like, what are your thoughts about that? Like, yeah, I know you want to start a conversation. If you want to start a conversation, write something that starts a conversation. Don't write something boring and then be like, what do you think? Right? Be relevant, relatable, passionate. Don't over format it. Like, don't do the broetry thing. Don't do a big wall of text. Just find something that's like visually like pretty easy to read. Probably skip the emojis because they're like a little bit much right now with AI. If you're into M dashes, like legitimately like I am, keep them. I don't care. Do what's right for you. Do what's authentically you, right? Don't overthink it. Just post a couple times a week. It doesn't have to be every day. I keep seeing these like 30-day LinkedIn challenges and like maybe that's helpful for like building the habit, but like I've never done a 30-day LinkedIn challenge. I've gone months without posting. And LinkedIn still has me on there. Like, it's fine. It's just like, again, don't overthink it. We don't all have to be like little LinkedIn robots. The one thing you have to do right now, and this could change next week because, like, you know, the internet and trends and algorithms and companies, comment. If you are going to commit to posting, but not comment on anybody else's posts, you may as well just like not even post, honestly. Right now, the algorithm is favoring commenting way over posting. And if you post and then go comment on a bunch of people's other posts, the algorithm will be like, you know what? We'll give some eyeballs back to your post, right? Like supposedly, right? Who knows? It's all a big mystery. But make sure that when you are going to post, let's say it's like Wednesday morning or whenever, you know, something strikes a chord, go and do it and then spend like 10 minutes scrolling through your feed and find another post to comment on because you got to initiate, they're going to reward you for having and building that conversation, right? Engagement over perfection. Don't overthink it. We had a client that was like, I don't want you to post or to comment on other comments from the brand. And I'm like, you have like 4 followers. What do you want me to do with this? I literally am handcuffed by you. Why did you hire me? Right. If I had $1 for every time that happened, it's crazy. And then build your audience intentionally. Follow people in your industry, not just your colleagues. This is really critical before you go out posting and shit. Like connect with people that you want to have in your network and don't pitch them. Just be like, hey, I liked your background a lot. Can we be LinkedIn friends? Cool. That's it. It doesn't have to be anything bigger than that. You don't have to be like, hey, how are you? My name is Jeff and I have a company that does integrated demand gen, circle back, touch back tomorrow, ROI. No, just be yourself. It's okay. Just be human. Just say it like you would to your friends, right? Build your audience intentionally and with that, with the posting and the commenting, all of a sudden you're going to see this really start to take off. And again, if you don't get any likes, so embarrassing. No, I'm kidding. If you don't get any likes or comments, that's okay. All of my clients, not one of them have ever liked or commented on a post of mine. They've just been lurking in the background like, ooh, when we're ready for marketing, we're going to talk to her. Do not stress about this. This happens all the time too as a marketer working with CEOs. They're like, well, I don't know. My followers are only at like 5,500. And I'm like, okay, well, Bloomberg reached out to you. So I'm pretty sure things are working relatively well. Like there's more than just the metrics, and people who don't understand marketing get so obsessed with the metrics. And it's like, guys, we're not like, why do we always like want to act like robots when we don't know what to do? Because all we really should be doing is connecting with human beings, right? Like, it's like, go back to the basics. Let's all act like cavemen, you know, like that would be better than following some robotic template and doing like following robotic metrics. Like those are helpful ish, but they're only a tiny piece of the much bigger human centric puzzle. So my challenge to you is, I don't even like Ted Lasso, but I was like, that's relevant. My challenge to you is next week, post once, comment once a day, clean up who you follow, build out who you follow, and just be yourself. So thank you. Merci. Any questions? I don't have my microphone.
Hi. It's recording? Okay. My name is Ayo. I'm a 2000s kid, so I really don't like LinkedIn. When I think when we started getting like introduced to it, the platform was very business, 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 and I'm like, I'm in high school. I don't have a business. So I don't know why I'm on here. But recently, there's been a wave of the part of social media how it's important to also be on LinkedIn. But I'm still in that mindset. I'm like, I don't want to talk about business all the time. Or I don't want to talk about corporate all the time. I'm not interested in corporate. And so now I'm like, I would like to be on LinkedIn, but like, I don't always want to be talking about business or corporate, but then I feel like then that's not where the audience is. So it's a very specific audience.
Well, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to build your own business or get a job, or what's your story? Like what's your angle in life, just generally speaking?
I think the more I moved away from business and corporate, the more I was thinking about how your own life is just as important, if not more important than your job. And that for me was why I disliked LinkedIn so much, because it felt like a lot of people making their jobs their whole entire lives.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to come back, I thought, oh, if I wanted to contribute, I would want to contribute in a way where I'm like, yes, we have these jobs, our passion projects, but we also have our lives. And if that's not, what's the point of having a successful career or business when you're in shambles?
Yeah, no, I mean, totally. Like, and well, then there's the whole like dissociation when the world is crumbling and you're like, here's a subject line that was really helpful for me, for an email, right? Like, but like, what's your like, so I think like a marketer, what are you trying to get out of life right now? Are you currently are you looking for employment? Are you building a company? Are you a marketer or an engineer? What's your,
So I think at this point, the most
or a
relevant
student?
to LinkedIn would be, well, I'm at the end of my student life,
Okay.
and then I'm starting
Okay.
a business.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Congrats.
Thank you.
Is it a consumer business or a B2B business? Are you selling to businesses?
It's consumer. It's a marketplace connecting people and vendors for events.
Okay, cool. So there's a B2B element,
Yeah.
right? So that's who you want to connect with. So yes, I would share the personal side of you on LinkedIn. That's again, basically my whole brand. I like barely talk about marketing. And people hire me for marketing. It's crazy. But I would think about the vendors that you want to attract through LinkedIn. That's who I would try to talk to, and be yourself. Talk about non-business related things, but there's clearly something about what makes you you that is really important to why you're building out this business, I would think. Or maybe you're just like, I just want to make some cash, but you know what I mean? Like, I would just talk about that. I don't know if that answers your question. It's a bit of a deep one, but
No,
it touches on it.
you clarified it. I think what I was trying to make my LinkedIn presence more than just my business. Like, it's great
Yeah,
to
totally.
attract vendors, but
Yeah.
that's not the
I
end
would
all
just
be
do
all.
so authentically, right?
Yeah.
Like when people are like, I again ate a hot dog and here's what it taught me about sales. It's like, what? You know, like make it, don't just follow a template. I don't know. Sometimes people really have a hard time like knowing themselves. Again, therapy can be really helpful in this process. But yeah, I would totally bring your personal life to the table. Yeah. Thank you.
So unfortunately, we
Oh,
are
no.
very close to time
Sorry, I
here.
talked too much.
But you guys know what you can do? Later in the hallway, you can go find her and ask her all of your burning questions. So let's give it up for our speaker, everyone. Thank you again, all of you, for attending. Just as a reminder, we have one more session left before our startup showcase and closing party tonight, 6:30 p.m., first floor. Be there. Otherwise, please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.